So this is an interesting report. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is reportedly changing his approach to hiring directors. Interesting. I mean, just as a headline, that's interesting. Marvel, the powerhouse, Disney, changing their approach to hiring directors. I wonder why. Oh, it couldn't possibly be the decline in finances, box office return. Couldn't possibly be that. Yeah, interesting. I mean, make no mistake, this isn't realistically going to change anything, because you can change your approach to hiring directors all you like, but if from the top down, Kevin Feige being part of that, Bob Iger being part of that, if from the top down you fundamentally have the same managerial processes, editorial processes, whatever, what have you, it's going to remain the same. So, we talk about, I don't know, Victoria Alonso being fired. People thought that would be beneficial. I don't think that's going to change anything. We spoke about Bob Chapek being ousted from Disney. That's not going to change anything. It hasn't changed anything. So, make no mistake, Kevin Feige changing his approach to hiring directors is not going to change anything moving forwards. You can hire all the best directors under the sun. It won't change anything. Because there will still be creative clashes like there always have been. You'll probably have directors walk like there always have been. So, fascinating to see this headline, but I thought I'd sort of preface the report with that little snippet of commentary. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Would love to have you here more often. If you enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up button and give it a share. I will say as well, guys, please do check out the live stream podcast channel, linked below in the description box. Missed 8 reviews, live archives. It's booming over there now. We're over 10,000 subscribers, so we've hit my target for the year. But why don't we push for 15,000 subscribers? You'll like it. It's an interesting podcast, and all the best bits are clipped and put over there. So hit subscribe. Links in the description box. Right, let's dive into this. So, a new report suggests that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige plans to take a different approach to the hiring process, turning to, and this is, I think this is the most interesting part, is turning to experienced filmmakers for future movies and TV shows. That's even if you can convince them to come on board now, because it's not necessarily money that also, or should I say, always motivates experienced filmmakers. It's having the creative freedom to put your vision on screen. You can try to hire experienced filmmakers, but it's not a given that you're going to. Because you remember, ladies and gents, for every filmmaker that we do see hired, put in power, given a film, there will be many big names that turned their nose up working for Marvel. And that's not a stretch. There will be. So, Marvel Studios Phase 4. I mean, this article's like, while Marvel Studios Phase 4 was far from a disaster. No, it was. Both financially and critically, it was a disaster for Marvel. And Marvel Phase 5 is on that track as well. Why do I say that? Well, Marvel's Phase 5 got off to a horrendous start. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania has lost money for the studio. And that was the opener to Phase 5, the introduction of the big bad. That is a disaster. That absolutely is a disaster. That's not good. Now, interestingly, Phase 4 did get the studio its first rotten movie, Eternals. That was a huge bomb at the box office. But of course, the company itself, Marvel, has had relative disastrous outings on Disney Plus as well. They've not been a huge success. Absolutely not. Some of them have been, but some of them haven't been. And I wouldn't say they're a huge success either. Now, the number of certified fresh movies or projects has also lessened, which goes to show the turning of the tide with respect to critics. Not that they're anything massively to go by. They're not the be-all and end-all, of course not. But when the critics start to actually take note of what the audiences have been saying for a little while, that Marvel is on the decline, then you've got two individuals singing from the same hymn sheet, and then it's not looking good. So we had a horrendous box office number for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Victoria Alonso's been fired, like I said. We also had Ike Perlmutter fired as well. Pretty big. Pretty big changes. Now, ladies and gents, Disney CEO Bob Iger is thought to be key in making sure Marvel Studios returns to a quality over quantity approach to storytelling, and Feige may be prepping to make some changes too. Now, with respect to Bob Iger and this quality over quantity approach, he did come out and say this on an earnings call, so that's not a stretch, but it's unlikely that they will get back to any sort of former grandeur and glory. They have been, sort of sucking down the woke juice for a little bit too long. So according to Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast, just as an FYI, Jeff Snyder's been pretty on it with these scoops. Pretty reliable. So take it with a pinch of salt, but I would say pretty reliable. Feige's plan is now to adjust his hiring strategy by turning to already established filmmakers and creatives. Now there's a few things to consider here. Like I already said at the start, is that, that's even if you can get established filmmakers. Honestly, people are well aware, ladies and gents, like within Hollywood, we've had big names come out and say, yeah, I'm not working on superhero movies, they suck, I'm not interested, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. So that's even if you can get the big names. But secondly, who cares about big names? The audience don't care about big names anymore. They have not been box office draws for a long time. So it doesn't really make any sense as to why they're trying to do this, when the rot from the top down won't allow creative freedom anyway. So those filmmakers won't get to do what they want. But secondly, who cares? That's not going to be the draw for the audience at all. But sure, whatever. Jeff Snyder said that Feige does want to hire more established talent behind the camera, suggesting that the idea is to put future movies in the hands of more experienced directors. That's not been the issue. The CGI wasn't part of the director's issue. The horrendous CG was down to producers and executives within Marvel changing stuff at the last minute. That's out of the filmmaker's hands. The overall creative vision of Marvel, that's not the director's issue either. The corny ass, redundant humour, that's not the director's issue. So it's fascinating that they think this will change the direction that Marvel's been going. Massively. Now, Deadline's Justin Kroll last year actually said about Fantastic Four, interestingly enough, and said Kevin doesn't want to oversee the entire shoot. And after not having to worry about that with Sam Raimi, obviously on, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, he's very game for the same outcome with Fantastic Four, suggesting that, Multiverse of Madness was a success because Kevin Feige wasn't on board all the time, or that it had Sam Raimi on board and he could trust him to do, what Sam Raimi wanted with that film. Bizarre. Really bizarre. Really, really, really bizarre. Which goes off the back end of then Marvel hiring Matt Shakman, who was involved in WandaVision, which was a hit for Marvel. But I don't think that this means it's going to translate nicely to Fantastic Four being a hit. I think WandaVision was a hit for Marvel because it was the first Marvel Disney Plus show, so people were interested in it and wanted to watch it. I don't necessarily think that translates to Fantastic Four. I think that's a dumb move, dumb decision. But overall, this whole thing's a dumb move and a dumb decision. We need experienced filmmakers. Well, it doesn't matter if the rot is still existing at the very top of Marvel. Bizarre. And who cares about experienced filmmakers when they're not the draw anyway? The creative vision from the top down needs to change. Really, really strange choices to make here. But let me know what you think of this down below. I'm sure there'll be a few people that disagree. But do you think that this is a shining light at the end of the tunnel for Marvel? Do you think that this could regain their former glory? I personally don't. I think that the top-down nonsense coming from Disney and Marvel overall will remain, and thus so will the decline of Marvel Studios. But let me know what you think down below. And I also think as well, just as an FYI, people are a little bit sick of superhero movies now. Genuinely. And I think Super Mario Brothers coming out indicates that nicely. Because that's been I mean, in 2 weeks, that's soared past what Ant-Man and the Wasp did in its entire run. You know, nearly 700 million worldwide now, Super Mario Brothers movie's done in 2 weeks. That's insane. I think it's indicative of the market forces changing against wanting to consume the Marvel product. But, hey, I digress. Let me know what you think down below. Cheers, guys. Take care.